Today, you're going to learn how to talk about your daily routine at a more advanced C1 level. Talking about your daily routine is something that every language learner does, but most of the time it's very beginner or boring. So let's talk about how to make that sound more professional, more fluent, and more advanced. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. Let's talk about Mark's daily routine. Say hello to Mark. Mark is a manager, he's married, and he has 2 young kids. Let me tell you about Mark's daily routine at an advanced C1 level, and after I'll explain all the advanced vocabulary and grammar that you can add to your speech. The alarm rings at 6:30 a.m., signaling the beginning of Mark's day. With precision, he orchestrates the morning routine, ensuring his 2 energetic children are dressed and fed. As the aroma of coffee fills the air, Mark reviews his schedule, preparing for the day ahead. Notice how this daily routine started in a very advanced way, almost a poetic way. The alarm rings at 6:30 a.m. Most students would simply say, I wake up at 6:30 a.m. Or in this case, Mark wakes up at 6:30 a.m. But this is very beginner and boring. The alarm rings at 6:30 a.m. That sounds so advanced. Why don't you try that? You can say my alarm instead of the alarm. You can make it possessive. My alarm rings, present simple conjugated with my alarm, it. My alarm rings at. Put that in the comments and share what time your alarm rings, which is an alternative to saying I wake up at. My alarm rings at. As for me, my alarm rings at 5:30 a.m., signaling the beginning of Mark's day. Notice here we have signaling in the ing form. This is a present participle. It adds description by showing the result of the action. With precision. Precision means that there was a high level of accuracy. This is an advanced noun. You could also say with ease, because you want to talk about your daily routine as being easy, with ease. He orchestrates the morning routine. Again, notice the vocabulary is at that more advanced C1 level. To orchestrate means to organize, arrange, or coordinate. And notice those verb conjugations because we're in the present simple and it's being conjugated with the subject he. He, she, it, you need to add that s. With precision, he orchestrates the morning routine, ensuring, notice here another present participle. Again, it describes the action, ensuring his 2 energetic children are dressed and fed. As the aroma of coffee fills the air. Notice here, aroma is a more advanced way of saying the smell of coffee, the aroma of coffee. Mark reviews his schedule, preparing another present participle, preparing for his day ahead. Let's move on. At the office, Mark transitions into his managerial role, leading a diverse team. His day is filled with back-to-back Zoom meetings and presentations. Mark excels in conveying intricate ideas during meetings and negotiations. At the office, Mark transitions into something, his managerial role. Maybe you could say, after tending to my children, I have to transition into my marketing role or whatever your next role is. At the office, Mark transitions into his managerial role, leading a diverse team. Again, the present participle. It describes the action. His day is filled with. To be filled with something, this means to contain a lot of. Now, although contain is a more advanced vocabulary term than filled with, adding phrasal verbs, idioms, and expressions is a great way to sound more advanced, to sound more C1. So to be filled with sounds more advanced than saying contains. And back-to-back Zoom meetings and presentations. This means that as one meeting ends, another one immediately begins, back-to-back. Mark excels in explaining intricate ideas. This is a C1 or C2 sentence. A more beginner sentence would be saying, Mark is very good at communicating complex ideas. But notice that grammar difference. To excel in something or doing something, or to be good at. So you need a different preposition. Let's move on. As the workday concludes, Mark races against the clock to attend his children's extracurricular activities. Soccer practice, music lessons, and art classes become integral parts of their routine. In the car rides between activities, Mark cherishes the moments of connection with his children. As the workday concludes. Concludes is a more advanced way of saying as the workday ends. As the workday concludes, Mark races against the clock. This is an expression, to race against the clock. This is when you have to work quickly to complete all your tasks within a limited amount of time, to race against the clock. Soccer practice, music lessons, and art classes become integral parts of their daily routine. Integral means essential or necessary. It's a more advanced term. Let's look at this sentence. In the car ride between activities, Mark cherishes the moments of connection with his children. This is a complex sentence. The first part is a dependent clause, which means it is not a complete sentence. But if you add it to an independent clause, then it becomes a complex sentence. Using complex sentences is an integral part of sounding more advanced, fluent, and C1. Let's move on. Following dinner, the family reunites in collective activities, whether it's a board game, a movie night, or a stroll in the neighborhood. Mark, though weary from the demands of the day, revels in the simple pleasures of familial bonds. Following dinner, this is a more way of saying after dinner. The family reunites in collective activities. This is very advanced and again, almost poetic. A more B1 everyday way of saying this would be, the family spends quality time together. One of the activities is a stroll in the neighborhood. A stroll is a leisurely walk. So if there is a word, stroll, that means something else, to walk leisurely, it sounds more advanced to use the one word that communicates that idea. A stroll, a leisurely walk. Now grammatically, you can use to go for a stroll. Following dinner, we went for a lovely stroll in the park. The verb is go, so it's conjugated in the past simple, went. You can also take a stroll. Following dinner, we took the past simple of take. Following dinner, we took a lovely stroll in the park. Both are common and equally used. Let's learn about how Mark ends his daily routine. As the clock inches towards bedtime, Mark carves out a brief period for personal reflection by reading, meditating, or journaling. As he slips into his comfortable bed, he savors the tranquility that descends upon his home. As the clock inches towards bedtime, this is very advanced, it sounds poetic. As bedtime approaches, clearly sounds more intermediate, more basic than as the clock inches towards bedtime. Mark carves out a brief period for personal reflection by. By, and then you have your activities. By reading, by meditating, or by journaling. You could say, I start my day by, and then whatever the activity is. I start my day by working out for 30 minutes. I end my day. I conclude my day to sound more advanced. I conclude my day by meditating for 15 minutes. It's an integral part of my daily routine. As he slips into his comfortable bed. To slip into is a more advanced poetic way of saying to get into. I get into bed at 10 o'clock. I slip into my warm and comfortable bed as the clock inches towards 10 p.m. That sounds very advanced and poetic. He savors, he really enjoys. He savors the tranquility, the peace and quiet. He savors the tranquility that descends upon his home. Descends, that enters, that fills his home. A B1 student might simply say, he enjoys the quiet in his home. Now let's look at this whole sentence together, which is a complex sentence. And I want you to notice the as he, and then the other part of the sentence, he. As he X, he Y. X and Y being the activities. As I prepare my breakfast, I review my back-to-back meetings. As I is the dependent clause, which means it's incomplete. You have to connect it to an independent clause. I review my back-to-back meetings. That would be the independent clause. So this is a complex sentence, a great way to sound more advanced. So now you have learned so much vocabulary and grammatical structures that you can use to sound more advanced when you talk about a very simple thing like your daily routine. Of course, you don't need to add all of these structures or advanced vocabulary, but even using one or two when you're talking about your daily routine will help you sound more advanced. So do you want me to share more lessons where we review advanced ways to discuss common things? If you do, then put C1 in the comments below. And of course, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And you can keep learning advanced vocabulary with this lesson right now.